There are people who look warm, their voices calm, their smiles friendly. But strangely, every time you finish talking to them, something inside you feels heavy. It's not because the conversation was serious, but because of this weird feeling you just can't explain. Like there's a thin layer of fog covering the true meaning behind their words. You don't go home feeling relieved, but drained instead. And if that keeps happening, maybe you're dealing with someone who's hiding something. Not just bad intentions, but a buried feeling that they never admit, even to themselves. Today, I want you to take a closer look at the hidden signs that someone actually doesn't like you, even if they never say it. And in the end, it might make you rethink your entire social circle. Carl Jung, a psychologist from Switzerland, once said, "Every person has a dark side. Not an evil side, but the part we hide away. Envy, fear, unfulfilled ambition." He called it the shadow. The problem is, we're not always aware of our own shadow, but we often project it outward. What do I mean? For example, someone who feels like a failure in their career, and you just got a promotion. Without realizing it, they'll feel unsettled. Not because you did something wrong, but because you become a mirror of what they don't have. And in the end, they start acting strange, like making offhand comments. "Wow, lucky your office isn't strict. Mine would have already scolded me." Sounds casual, right? But actually, that's a projection of the disappointment inside them. And that's just one small example. The first sign is the backhanded compliment. This is a compliment that makes you think twice. When you hear the words, it sounds like a normal compliment, but there's something that makes you uncomfortable. For example, "You're pretty smart for a local graduate." Or, "It's impressive you got promoted, considering how laid back you seem." If it happens once or twice, you might just think it's a joke. But if it happens often, it's a sign something's being hidden. They're not really giving you a sincere compliment, but a subtle jab wrapped up nicely. Why? Because admitting your success honestly means they have to admit their own failure. The second sign is the accidental saboteur. Sometimes people who actually don't like you can cause problems in ways that seem unintentional. For example, you're getting ready for an important presentation, but suddenly they accidentally book the meeting room at the same time. Or you ask for a reference, and they say, "Oh shoot, I forgot to send the email." If it happens once, you might call it a human error. But if it keeps happening, that's not a coincidence, bro. It's a subtle way to hold you back without looking like the bad guy. The third sign is the one-upper. Have you ever felt like whatever you do, they always have to do it better? You buy a motorbike, they get a car. You go on vacation to Bali, they go to Japan. You talk about your achievements, and they always have a bigger story. This isn't about positive motivation, but an endless competition. One that only they play. They don't want to see you above them, so everything has to be more than what you have too. The fourth sign is the ghost supporter. When you're struggling and really need help, they suddenly disappear. You send a message, no reply. You call, no answer. But funny enough, when they need something, they show up like they have an online when needed feature. This is the type of person whose support only shows up when it's convenient for them, not when you truly need it. The fifth sign is the gaslight master. Have you ever felt blamed or yelled at? But when you try to talk about it, they say, "Ah, you're just being too sensitive, I was just joking." This is a tactic that makes you doubt your own feelings, even though what they did was real and hurtful. They make you feel like you're the one at fault, when actually, it's them who are wrong. The sixth sign is the information leak. Have you ever shared a secret with someone only to have it suddenly spread everywhere? Even though they were the only one who knew. And they say, "Oh, sorry, I totally forgot." But the truth is, that forgot is just an excuse to share info they should have kept private. This is a sign they can't be trusted. even with the most personal things. The seventh sign is the joy thief. When you get an award or good news, they don't share your happiness. Instead, they change the subject or drop cold comments that make your joy feel less meaningful. Their smile is thin, like they're barely holding back jealousy. They steal your happiness, not because they're evil, but because they're uncomfortable seeing you happy. The eighth sign is the uncanny valley effect. Have you ever seen someone whose smile looks normal, but their eyes are empty, out of sync with their mouth's expression? That's a micro-expression that can't lie to the heart. Their body always stays a bit distant, like there's an invisible wall they've put up without saying a word. If you record and watch it again, you'll see how their hidden resentment leaks through little movements they don't even realize. Sometimes the hardest part isn't spotting people who aren't genuine, but accepting the truth, that not everyone will support your journey. These signs aren't meant to make us paranoid, but to help us realize not every kind of energy is worth giving ourselves to. Protecting your heart and mind matters, because positive energy is the fuel for growth. Don't let someone else's shadow dim your light. If someone keeps draining you for no clear reason, maybe it's time to step back and make space for better people. Because in a world full of drama, the choice is in your hands: to stand tall or get swept away. If this spoke to you, leave a comment saying "Shadow" so I know. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep sitting together, talking slowly and deeply in the next videos.